Welcome back to the Commanders Declassified podcast. As always, your home for all things Washington Commanders and the NFL, and the Commanders football season is just about to rev up. You want to be locked in right now for all the latest and greatest information you can possibly get. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, subscribe on our audio platforms because we're going to bring it this season. We promise you. And if you don't get on the train now, you'll never get. No, I'm kidding. We'll always welcome you in, but just take care of it now. All right, so we're going to talk tonight about the unsung heroes of the current roster that are going to make a significant difference in 2025. We've done some research. We talked to some folks, mainly each other, and we have some ideas about who's really going to impact this season. But first, there's a lot of unique things going on this NFL season that I think are different than many others. As a football fan, I always like to think about just things I'll keep track of when the Commanders aren't on TV, right? And so I asked the fellas here to come up with a list of 5 things that they're watching for outside of the Commanders and NFL this season. I'm going to go first selfishly today because I'm going to give you my list because I think this is something that really intrigues me. My top 5
Okay.
things that I'm watching it out for in 2025. Justin Fields with the Jets. Is he going to be good or is he going to be trash? Because it kind of feels like this is his last stop as a starter anyway, unless, if he performs well, he'll get more opportunities. But the Jets kind of went all in on Justin Fields, right, in terms of what they didn't do elsewhere at the quarterback position. So they're really giving him this year to see what he can be or what he won't be. But I think they're going to find something unique with him, especially in the mobility department, and see how they can bring along the passing game. Remember, when he got benched in Pittsburgh, he was 5-1 as a starter. I think it was 5-1. Wasn't throwing for a ton of yards, but he was putting that team in position to win. So that's my number 1. These are in no specific order, too. Number 2, I'm a Trevor Lawrence fan, right? But it's make or break time for him. He's been average, slightly above average, and then had some great moments in that playoff game that they had a couple years ago. But that's really all you've gotten from Trevor Lawrence. A bunch of turnovers, some really bad decisions, and some really electric plays. If we don't get it this year, he's never going to get it. And we just have to accept that Trevor Lawrence is essentially Blaine Gabbert, right? But I'm rooting for Trevor Lawrence. I don't know why, but I'm a fan of his. I want to see him do well. Number 3, Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh for so many reasons. Number 1, I think that this is Aaron Rodgers is well past his prime, right? But I'm a fan of Mike Tomlin and his coaching style. And I want to see the Pittsburgh do well as long as it's not against us, right? But Aaron Rodgers is such a wild card in that equation. They have DK Metcalf. They just made an insane trade for Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey and got rid of Minka Fitzpatrick, right? Like they're trying to go all in to win. And Pittsburgh is going to be the top of the story list at any rundown that you see on any show this year for those reasons. I'm really curious how things will turn out in Pittsburgh this year, but they're going all in. And I love aggressive teams, right? Look, this one's obvious, and I know, but Shador in Cleveland, right? He got passed over so many times. I watched a lot of Colorado games last year. I can't help it. Dion draws me in to see what that college program is going to be, for better or for worse. Shador's in the NFL now. A lot of people had a lot of things to say. What's he going to be? I have no freaking clue what Shador Sanders is going to be in the NFL, but I want to find out. My number 6, I actually have my number 5. I'm sorry. I have a number 6 too. My apologies. My number 5 is
I'm
sorry.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry. This is it. I just have 6. I'm 6.
He's putting
The
Roman
Giants.
numerals and hieroglyphics, and
we talked about it last week, but the Giants situation is a mess. Brian Daboll and that GM should have been gone last year, but they're still here. Can they pull this thing out of the depths of where to turn their season around and have a productive season? And last and finally, Travis Hunter. I mean, who's not interested in what Travis Hunter is going to be playing both sides of the ball, right? I am fascinated by this. We had Champ Bailey in Washington, right? Charles Woodson in Oakland. There's been Bo Jackson, but there's been plenty of guys who have tried it. I meant whatever. I'm going to move on, but nobody's done it to the level of what people think that Travis Hunter's going to do. Plus, I'm not even sure if he's going to play more receiver or more quarterback. I don't know, but I'm intrigued by the entire situation. It's amazing.
I'll add on to yours real quick. I don't know why. I'm sorry, there's an echo throwing me off. Sorry about that. Nobody brings up Troy Brown when they're talking about these cornerback, wide receiver duos. No one brings up Troy Brown from the Patriots, and he played like both sides a lot into the postseason one year. I remember. I think that was the year they may have won the Super Bowl versus the Eagles, but I'm not sure. But it's just every time somebody brings up Travis Hunter, nobody brings up Troy Brown, and I'm like, that's the one player people should bring up because he did it. Maybe not at a high level, but he did it. The volume was high from what I remember.
Nah, you know what? They all just want to be Sammy Baugh. And you can call me when they lead the league in passing, interceptions, and punting. Because then they're in Sammy Baugh territory.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. And you're right about Troy Brown with the Patriots. People don't think about him because he wasn't an A-level anything. He was a really good receiver, and I think he was a good cornerback, but it was so weird that he was even doing it to begin with that it just didn't make sense to me back then, and it still doesn't make sense to me now.
I think it was out of necessity, wasn't it? Like they just put him in the defensive backfield because they had injuries that year and they were struggling and they needed something, and he was able to do it.
I don't remember how it happened. I just remember seeing him playing corner.
Just remember there was a cornerback wearing number 80 at one point. Yeah.
Like, why is he playing? He's actually okay. It's crazy.
Right. Well, it was so random. Eric, what's your list?
Well, first of all, let me address your point. Your first 2 points about Pittsburgh and the Jets, about the gambles they're taking at quarterback and going all in. I see it quite the opposite. I think they're both punting on this season. I wish nothing but the best for I can't even remember the kid from the Jets, the poor quarterback. Blanking on Justin Fields. Nothing but I wish nothing but the best for him. I just think that at this point he is what he is, and he's going to be a guy who's going to be always potential. I think they're both. I think the Steelers, more so the Jets, because the Jets are probably really not even trying to hide it, in my opinion. I think they're going in for a quarterback next year. They're just going to try to tank this year. The Steelers, who knows what they're doing? But I mean, at this point, I personally would rather have Minkah Fitzpatrick than Jalen Hurts or Jalen Ramsey at this point in their careers. But I guess Pittsburgh sees that otherwise. I think both of them are punting on this season, personally. As far as my storylines, mine's actually going to start out west, the NFC West. Who's going to step forward there? The Rams had a nice run last year, for sure. If I had to pick a front runner right now, it would probably be the Rams. But Matthew Stafford is getting older. He has, there comes a point, he's always been that kind of a gambler, gunslinger type quarterback. And there comes a point where, like, your arm can't make those throws anymore, but your brain still thinks you can. See Brett Favre the last 4 years of his career. Like, you still think you can do things, but you can't really do it. I think Matt Stafford is rapidly approaching that point. So are they a favorite? Maybe. But Pete Carroll's with the Raiders. I'm just talking trash now. I'm sorry. The Seahawks, what are they going to do? Are they going to, with the moves that they made at quarterback this year, are they going to be ready to step up? The 49ers, kind of are all in, but they're really not because they gave up a lot, but they're bringing guys back. Their season is heavily dependent on Christian McCaffrey. I'm really curious to see how that division shakes out this year, but I would not be surprised if 10-7 wins that division this year. But also wouldn't be surprised if that team whoever wins that division made some noise in the playoffs. So that's number one for me. Number two, I also had the Jets because it is going to be a beautiful train wreck. And honestly, I'm just going to tack onto that. I think New York City football is going to be just must-see TV this year. We said it last week. I feel bad for Jackson Dart. He's just in a bad spot. I like him as a player. I totally see why he's a very gifted, talented athlete, but he needs to be in the right situation to have a good chance to succeed. And I don't think New York is, because a lame duck head coach in New York, a lame duck GM, and a brand new quarterback is just a terrible conversation. My words are, it's a terrible combination. And I feel bad for Jackson Dart because I just think it's setting his career back. Look at the quarterbacks, the carousel, the cycling through of quarterbacks, coaches, and GMs that they've done in Chicago over the years. It's going to be a similar situation in New York. They got to get somebody in there. Everybody's got to be on the same page, and I think that hopefully will happen in New York, because I think if the Giants are good, and honestly the Jets are good, if they're good, it's better. It's good for the NFL. It's good for the league. I think it's got to happen soon for specifically the Giants. But I think Jackson Dart is going to be a casualty of that scenario. So that's going to be my number 2. I also had Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh as number 3, because again, it's just a soap opera with Aaron Rodgers at this point. I don't think, unlike Stafford, I think Rodgers has the ability to play well as long as he wants to, because he's such an efficient passer, such an accurate passer, and the arm strength is there for sure, or has been a factor for him for sure, but he's such a precision passer with good timing that he's a guy who I think can make throws. I just think he's kind of a head case at this point and a diva, and I think he's already said this is going to be his last year. And Pittsburgh season, I think they're going 10-7, 9-8 again, just like they do every year. But yeah, Pittsburgh is definitely going to be interesting to watch. Number 4 for me is going to be, well, we're going to stay home in the NFC East. In my opinion, it's a 2-team race between Washington and Philly. Dallas may sneak in there. They may steal a win against one or two of them, of those other teams, but I think it's a 2-team race. I don't think Washington, granted, this is a Washington Commanders podcast, I don't think they were a flash in the pan. I think they have the makings of a really good football team for a long time to come. They've got all the right pieces are in place. I'm excited to see that. Philly is still Philly. They're still a really good team. That offense is designed perfectly around the skill sets of the quarterback and the top running back. If they're both healthy, they're going to be formidable. They have, again, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in the division, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, like top 3 for sure, in A.J. Brown. And that defense, with Vic Fangio calling the defense with the talent they have, they're going to be a formidable team. I think they're still the favorite in the NFC East, but I do feel like Washington may have closed the gap. So the NFC East, 100% is my number 4, and it's going to be fun to watch. And finally, for me, it's Trey Hendrickson. What happens with him? The Bengals have re-signed everybody on the offensive side. They're kind of a train wreck on defense, even still. They drafted an edge rusher and he doesn't want to play for them. Now they've got Trey Hendrickson, who doesn't want to play for them either, and they don't want to pay him, or maybe they do. Who knows? I don't know what's going on there. I'd love to see where Trey Hendrickson lands. I don't think it's going to be in the NFC East personally. Wouldn't mind if he showed up in DC, depending on what they had to give up for him. But yeah, those are my top 5 stories.
That's a good 5. I think Hendrickson, and remember, TJ Watt still is not signed yet either, and he's holding
TJ Watt too.
I think he still has time on his contract, but it's like you got those 2 situations in the same division. Your top sack leaders from last year are still not signed, and their teams are making plenty of moves without those guys. It's really intriguing. And pass rusher, aside from quarterback, is like the most important position in the NFL. But they're just getting paid too much money, I think, for these teams. And, when you sign players late, which is what I'm worried about with Terry, soft tissue injuries every time they come to training camp. I hope that gets done. But anyway, yeah, that's really intriguing. The Matt Stafford conversation is interesting because in Detroit, Matt Stafford had some years where he was awful. He was bad. But Sean McVay has figured it out for him in with the Rams, right? And to your point, at some point when that arm talent goes, is he going to go back to some of those years he was in Detroit and not doing so well? So
yeah,
I like
as good as he's been, he's always had this propensity to just, for whatever reason, launch it down to the middle of the field off his back foot to just do it, and it never ends up well, but he still does it, and he's done it every year, and I watch him, and he still does it. I don't understand that, and yeah, as the arm strength starts to slip as he gets into his late 30s, I'm not thinking that's going to be the best decision. Even it wasn't when he had a great arm, so we'll see what happens when his arm isn't as good.
Yep, and as I was saying, I could see Mike's eyes lightening up. Let me tell you, Mike, he did have some bad years. 2013, 29 touchdowns, 19 interceptions. The year before, 2012, 20 touchdowns, 17 picks, right? This guy had like a 3-year run where he was average to below average.
It's the gunslinger. I mean, he had a bad team around him, which had a lot to do with it. But yeah, it's the gunslinger quarterback, not my favorite style of play. It's fun to watch.
Stop at 2012. Tell them about the 2011 season.
2011. Yeah. I mean, he had Calvin Johnson on a record path. I'm just saying he had some bad years that people forget about because he's been so good in Los Angeles with the Rams. But Matt Stafford is still in there somewhere, right? And so,
I get it. I get it.
yeah. What do you got for your list anyway?
So, first story, it's a three-way war in the AFC, man. It's been that way for the last couple of seasons. I've enjoyed it personally. But can the Ravens or Bills take out the Chiefs? That's going to be one of the main NFL stories probably for the next 3 more years at least, I feel like. It's a three-way war, and I feel like the Ravens, man, for a second, why does John Harbaugh always get away with being on the hot seat? The Ravens have failed miserably in the postseason for like the last 3 or 4 years, and he's never put on the hot seat. And there's a stat that was out there about teams that were aggressive, were going on fourth downs, blitzing, things like that. You all know that stat that JP Finley posted. Washington was second, Detroit was first. That's good. And I'm looking at the top 10 of those teams, and I'm looking. The Ravens aren't on there. The Ravens were ranked 27th. And I feel like that is a major indictment on John Harbaugh. His seat should be one of the hottest seats in the league, man. And I feel like that's the reason if the Ravens don't overtake the Chiefs, it's his fault. And he should be on the hot seat this year. And if not this year, the seat should be on fire next season if the Ravens, I would say, don't make the Super Bowl. And I'm dead serious with that. And as far as Buffalo, I mean, they had their shots at the Chiefs multiple seasons, and I just think they have Kansas City has Buffalo number in multiple areas. My next story, like everybody's mentioned, is Rodgers last season, and I'm a Rodgers apologist on the field. We could talk about all the stuff off the field all day and whatever. On the field, he's actually still okay. He finished the season kind of strong. I think the last game versus the Dolphins, he threw 4 touchdowns in Week 18. So, like, he's still Aaron Rodgers, even if it's not prime Aaron Rodgers. And I look forward to seeing this last season. One of my favorite quarterbacks ever. Everybody talks about, can Washington catch Philly? How did we pass Detroit? Can the Lions catch Philly? Can the Detroit catch Philly? With especially losing their coordinators, that's what messed me up last week when I said Philly lost both of their coordinators. Wrong team. It really just dawned on me. I was talking about the wrong team. The Lions are the ones that lost their coordinators. I feel like if any team should be on not fraud watch, but suspect watch, it's the Lions. I know Dan Campbell is good at offense or whatever, but you're losing 2 good coordinators. A lot of players are coming back from injury, so how's the continuity going to be? Like, I question if the Detroit Lions can catch Philly, man. I really do. Second-year quarterbacks, including Jayden Daniels, are they going to be good? J.J. McCartney is going to be his first year, basically. Can he catch up? That's going to be a very interesting story. And speaking of catch up, has the defense overall in the NFL caught up with the offense in the NFL? If it didn't last year, I think it gets real close this year. You might see a dip in scoring. Remember, I told y'all that on July 1st. And that's all I got.
So I got a couple things for you. Speaking of which, has the defense caught up? Is the running game really back in the NFL? We saw it last year making a comeback. Is it really, really back? I want to see that this year. You mentioned the Ravens and the Bills. Whoever is the one to take down Kansas City is going to take the edge between Lamar and Josh Allen. And it can go either way right now in terms of legacy. I think whoever does it's going to get that edge. And then you talked about the Ravens not in the top 10 on 4th down, which is insane when you have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. Because you're talking about 4th and short. Why are we punting or kicking a field goal when you have Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson? That's nuts. I
They
agree
should
with
be doing what Washington is doing and probably better, but
exactly.
whatever.
Yep. All right, unsung heroes. I know not all of our listeners are fans of the rest of the NFL, but we like to get into that. We're going to hit high gear on the Commanders right now. I have unsung heroes, fellas. I'm going to give you my list. Tell me what you think about them, and I want to hear what you guys have too. By the way, for all our beautiful commenters, hit the comment section. Tell us what your storylines that you care about in the NFL are for this season, and then tell us who your unsung heroes for the Commanders will be in 2025 too. We want to see them all. We love the comments. Shout out to everybody that leaves us comments after every episode or as they watch our episodes. We appreciate you. You guys are family. All right, my unsung hero list, and I'm going to tell you why. Tyler Owens, safety, right? I think we're still very thin at the safety position across the board, in particular free safety. But I think Tyler Owens brings some flexibility with where he plays. I think he's primarily a box safety from what we've seen so far, but I think he allows other players to rotate to that free safety position. Plus, we do a lot of dynamic things on the back end with those safeties, and they're somewhat interchangeable. I think he's going to matter this year. Austin Eckler, he does not get enough love for how well he played last year. I went to sleep last night watching that Tampa Bay playoff game as I was going to bed. Because, by the way, holy crap, I was impressed with Jayden Daniels in that game. It just, every time I try to watch somebody else, he stands out. But Austin Eckler had a heck of a game. He's not the breakaway guy, but he gets yards in chunks. And I love that about Eckler. KJ Osborne, receiver-wise, we still have some questions at the receiver position. And I have a feeling that KJ Osborne is not only going to make the roster, but potentially play a lot more than what we're thinking about. I'm not saying the guy is going to give us like 600 yards or anything like that, but I think he might matter on this roster because I still think we got a lot of questions with our receiver depth. Sheldon Day. Okay, Sheldon Day didn't have like an all-world season, but he was pretty good against the run late in the year when nobody else was. I like Sheldon Day a lot. Sheldon Day is one of those journeyman players that just brings his lunch pail, straps it up, and go hit somebody. I'm a fan. And then my fifth is Clelin Ferrell. Some people say Cleveland. I say Clelin Ferrell. We don't have a lot of guys that can generate sacks. Clelin Ferrell can be one of those guys that contributes to our sack total overall. And he did it somewhat last year. We saw, I think he had 3 sacks last year. Not amazing, but I think he was hurt for part of the year as well. So I am counting on Ferrell to come in and contribute a little bit more than he did last year. Again, not a top of the roster guy, but I think he's going to make an impact. Fellas, what do you think?
Your list matches mine somewhat closely. We have a couple of overlaps. Tyler Owens is one for sure. We know Adam Peters is a RAS guy. Like, he loves the RAS score. Any guesses as to what Tyler Owens' RAS score was?
I'm going to say 8.99.
10.
Dang! Okay.
He is literally the greatest athlete in the world, according to RAS. His RAS score is 10. I didn't think that was possible. He's literally in the top, like 99th percentile in everything.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so he's definitely on. That's why they love him so much. He was very good on special teams last year. He's definitely going to be a guy, in my opinion, if he stays healthy, that's gonna have an impact on the field. And once again, his RAS score is 10. That's insane. Doesn't get any higher than that, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, Sheldon Day was another one that I had as well. He's one of those guys that he's the tush push stopper, one of those guys with the him and the what's the kid they brought in? The other guy on my list. I just had it on my screen.
Goldman, Eddie Goldman.
Yeah, Goldman. Him and Goldman in the middle in those tush push plays. I think you're going to see that quite a bit this year because Goldman was actually on my list as well. Also on my list, you had Clelin Ferrell. I have Javonte Jean-Baptiste as a guy. He's another super high RAS guy. Very good athlete. Actually flashed quite a bit last year in limited action. And I think that part of the reason that they didn't pursue that top end edge rusher this year is they really like what they have in Javonte Jean-Baptiste. Because if you look at the guy, he checks every box as an edge rusher. I think some of the knocks on him was consistency and that he might have been a little bit stiff. but he made some really good plays. Go back and watch last year. He flashed big time. And the last guy on my list was actually going to be Dominique Hampton. I think Dominique Hampton's another one of those guys, and it was close between him and another guy, but Dominique is going to be my guy. He's one that they brought into safety. I think they're moving into linebacker, kind of in that Kane Medrano role. He could be the hybrid guy. He's got a little bit more, another very athletic guy. They wanted to put some size on him last year. I think we're going to see quite a bit from him. I'm excited to see what Dominique Hampton can do this year for the team.
Yeah, you know what Jean-Baptiste RAS score was? 9.13. Yeah. He's another dude. Yeah, you know, he did flash a little bit last year. I can't remember if it was preseason or if it was actually like somewhat in the regular season.
He made a lot of plays in the preseason, but he made plays in the regular season as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do this year for sure. Hampton, I don't know, because they have him listed as a starting like Sam linebacker, which we don't really use. Or we haven't previously used, but I don't know. Like I want to like Hampton. Is Hampton the one that's from Notre Dame, or was that Jean-Baptiste?
Jean-Baptiste is from Notre Dame.
Hampton from Washington, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I saw enough of Hampton and kind of considering the pieces. By the way, 9.57 out of 10 on RAS score for Hampton too. But you know, I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'll give it a shot. Yeah. I like your list. Mike, what do you got?
So I guess I went, y'all said B level. So my players are maybe not unsung, but I feel like they will make a difference. And I'll just list them in 3 separate categories, I guess. The veteran free agents that we brought in, Jonathan Jones, Will Harris, Dietrich Wise. I really feel like those 3, individually and as a unit, will contribute to the defense this season. It's much needed, not only veteran leadership, but it'll bring some stability to the defense, and that's something that I feel like was missing last year. I think back to the Steelers game. I just feel like that game was the highlight of how inconsistent and underwhelming the defense was and how it can cost you a game. Definitely feel like those 3 players will benefit the defense. Luke McCaffrey, man. Like, I know it's his second year. We're going to be talking about him all training camp, all season. But that's a player that can really make a difference. Everybody talk about the offensive line gelling will be the reason the team goes from okay or good offense to elite. I feel like if you can get another receiver piece to go with Terry, hopefully, and Debo, that 3-hitting monster can really take off for the offense. And the last piece, Brandon Coleman, he had a great season for a rookie that we thought was going to be a guard that actually played tackle last year. And now he's a guard that played tackle last year that's going to start at guard this season. And yeah, I feel like if he can prove that he can play both positions well, not only will it benefit his career, but all of a sudden you really got a solid offensive line for Jayden Daniels for years to come. Not games, but years to come. And that's great. And that's my 5.
I was getting ready to say something about Luke McCaffrey being on your list, but I'm gonna leave it alone because I don't want to be the Luke McCaffrey hater. I want him to be good.
It's too late. You already are.
I know it's too late. I'm already labeled that way.
They say I am, and I'm like, I'm just
man. You're like fan club number 1, man. You're like a stan, Luke McCaffrey stan.
That's why I don't know how I got the label. But
I for one will not be talking about Luke McCaffrey all year. Just an FYI. I hope he's fine. I think he'll be fine. We've already talked about our feelings on him. I think he's going to be a solid NFL player, probably never great. Maybe a low end 2, high end number 3, I know at best, but not a bad list though. Not a bad list at all.
No. Hey, honorable mention, Chris Rodriguez, running back.
I wanted to put him down. I typed his name, but I spelled it wrong and deleted it.
Yeah, I think him and Krosky Merritt are going to be like swapping spots on the practice squad, in my opinion, this year. I think they're just going to rotate those. Hey, look, I'm excited. I mean, I think Rodriguez has done fine. He's shown fine. Has some really good games. I think he had close to 100 yards in one game last year against the Titans, I believe it was. He's definitely performed when he's had to, but I think I think he's always going to be, that third running back. And I think depending on matchup or whatever, Krosky Merritt, I also am really excited to see, but I think he may not blow up, year one. So yeah, I think Rodriguez and Krosky Merritt will be just kind of swapping spots as RB3 or 4.
We haven't spoken about Jeremy McNichols. He was decent last year.
No, I'm joking.
In number 3.
I'm joking.
He came in when Eckler was hurt. He had some moments.
I love McNichols. What's his incoming third season on the team? I really do like him. I have no beef with McNichols at all.
McNichols,
a very solid veteran fourth running or third running back.
His pass protection skills is what sets him apart. He's really good in pass protection. And I think that's going to have him. He's going to have a job for a long time in the NFL just because of that. And he's going to be tough to beat out as that RB3 just because of that. You can put him in on passing downs and trust. I mean, go back and watch Cincinnati, that big throw from Jayden to Terry McLaurin. Watch the block McNichols lays. Flattens a dude. It was fantastic.
This like his 8th season, I think.
Yeah, he was a Tennessee for a long time. But he also had a critical fumble. I don't remember which team it was against. Was it the Eagles or somebody?
It was a kickoff return.
Wasn't it?
The Eagles. Yes.
Yeah.
He ran into the. Let's move on.
We're moving.
You know what? A lot of guys had critical fumbles against the Eagles in that game. So
yeah.
One mistake does not ruin a season.
Third person ain't on the team no more. So thankfully, we ain't got to say this.
Any guys you feel like we left off besides Rodriguez, maybe?
Yeah, Jordan McGee is a guy I think you're going to see take a step forward this year. I think he could potentially be the Bobby Wagner replacement long term. I think you'll see a lot more out of him this year. I think he was kind of banged up for a good chunk of last year, but I think Jordan McGee is going to step up.
I wanted to put Gallup, but I didn't feel it. And then you said Osborne, and I'm like, what? He's going to make the team?
Yes, he will. You watch. What is it? July 1st?
No. There's one more person that I did want to put down. Chris Moore. He was making plays in minicamp, and our lads has him listed as a second or third receiver on the depth chart. So apparently we got to look out for Chris Moore. Who knew?
Nah.
Marco Mitchell. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll be Anthony Armstrong. You never know, because Anthony Armstrong was that dude who made plays in minicamp and ended up being pretty good. So yeah, he could be that guy too.
It's a low buzz, but it's noticeable. It's something there. It's very little smoke.
Hey,
like
training camp
from a big lighter or something. I don't
know. A little flick. We'll see. All right. Well, fellas, good list. And I think these guys can all make significant impacts to our season. Eric, any final thoughts on either storylines, unsung heroes, or just anything in general?
Man, training camp cannot start soon enough. That's my final thought. I need fresh material.
Hey, we might all go. We might do a show from training camp. You never know.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, it'll be too hot and probably raining because I think we're setting the record for the most days of rain to start a year that I can ever remember. It's crazy.
Yeah, those gnats up at Redskins Park are terrible anyway. Imagine what they're going to be like this year.
And we were in a drought 2 weeks ago. I don't believe it, but apparently we were. So whatever.
Oh, my grass is looking terrible. So much for that tall fescue. Mike, final thoughts?
Nah, like I'm ready for the season 2. I saw a post saying that this July and there's a football game this month. I was like, really? But it's July 31st. So
is it a Hall of Fame game?
Yeah, the Hall of Fame game.
I love that game. Football's back.
I would rather watch a UFL preseason game, I think, than the Hall of Fame game.
Remember the year?
You know how people get so excited for preseason, and it's just the worst football. It's so bad.
I love
it. 5 years ago or so, when they painted the field in the Hall of Fame game, and it was so bad they had to cancel the game.
Yep.
That was crazy. Everybody was so mad. It was so crazy.
I remember that. I remember when Terrell Owens went to Buffalo and they played in the Hall of Fame game. I was so excited to watch that game because I was a huge T.O. fan. I know, but I was a big T.O. guy. I thought he was one of the greats of all time. But anyway, yeah, football can't get here fast enough. Hall of Fame game. I'm ready for that too. Bring it on. And we'll be back next. We'll be back with some more exciting Commanders information. And make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit the comment section. We appreciate you. Peace. We're out of here.